The underground rumble of the subway echoed through the dimly lit station, the cold air swirling around the deserted platform as the last train of the night screeched to a haunting halt. Most commuters had already departed, leaving the ghostly quiet to settle in. Among them was Lily, a young woman heading home after a long day's work. She sighed and made her way to the last carriage, her footsteps echoing in the empty station. As the doors of the subway car slid open with a metallic hiss, Lily hesitated before stepping inside. The scene that greeted her chilled her to the core. The car was empty, save for a flickering overhead light, casting eerie shadows across the worn-out seats. The air felt heavy, laden with a sense of foreboding that made her skin crawl. Ignoring her growing unease, Lily found a seat near the middle of the carriage and settled in, pulling her coat tightly around her. The train lurched forward, plunging into the darkness of the underground tunnel. The rhythmic clatter of the wheels on the tracks filled the silence, each sound echoing off the walls like a ghostly whisper. As the train picked up speed, Lily's eyes were drawn to a figure standing at the far end of the car. A shiver ran down her spine as she recognized the spectral form of a young man, his eyes hollow and empty, staring straight ahead. She blinked, and he was gone. Was it just a trick of the dim light, or had she truly seen a ghost? Her heart racing, Lily tried to shake off the sensation of being watched. She glanced around the carriage, half expecting to see more phantoms lurking in the shadows. But the car remained empty, save for the sound of her own rapid breathing. Just as she began to relax, a chilling whisper invaded her ears. "Help me," it begged, a ghostly voice that seemed to emanate from the very walls of the subway car. Lily froze, her breath catching in her throat. She looked around frantically, but the voice had no discernible source. It seemed to surround her, echoing through the empty carriage like a curse. Driven by a mix of fear and curiosity, Lily stood up, her eyes scanning the shadows for any sign of the mysterious voice. And then, out of the corner of her eye, she saw it, a flicker of movement near the door at the end of the carriage. Heart pounding in her chest, she approached slowly, not sure what to expect. As she drew closer, the figure materialized before her eyes. It was a woman, her ghostly form swaying as if caught in a phantom breeze. Her eyes were sunken and hollow, brimming with unshed tears. "Please," she implored, her voice a whisper that cut through the silence like a blade. "You have to help us." Lily's mind reeled as she took in the apparition before her. Who were these lost souls haunting the subway car, and why had they chosen her to deliver their cryptic message? In a daze, she reached out a hand, hesitantly touching the woman's incorporeal form. A surge of icy coldness washed over her, sending a chill down her spine. In that moment, a flood of images and sensations assailed Lily's mind. She saw the young man and woman, their faces frozen in fear as the subway car hurtled out of control. She felt the terror and confusion of the passengers as the train careened off the tracks, plunging into the darkness below. And then, the overwhelming sense of loss and despair as their souls became trapped in this cursed place. Shaken to her core, Lily stumbled back, her mind reeling with the weight of the ghostly visions. She knew then that she had to help these lost spirits find peace, no matter the cost. With a newfound determination, she faced the ghostly figures before her. "I will help you," she vowed, her voice steady despite the trembling of her hands. The spirits seemed to shimmer in response, their ethereal forms pulsing with renewed hope. They beckoned her towards the end of the carriage, where a dim light flickered in the distance. As Lily followed, the subway car seemed to stretch on endlessly, the walls closing in around her like a living, breathing entity. Shadows danced in the corners of her vision, whispering secrets that she couldn't quite grasp. And still, the ghostly figures led her on, their silent presence a comfort in the oppressive darkness. Finally, they reached the end of the carriage, where an old door stood slightly ajar. The spirits gestured for Lily to open it, their eyes filled with a mixture of fear and longing. With a deep breath, she pushed the door wide open, revealing a blinding light that seemed to pierce through the darkness of the subway car. As she stepped through, a blinding white light enveloped her, washing away the shadows and the ghosts that had haunted her. In that moment, Lily felt a sense of peace wash over her, the weight of the spirit's sorrow lifting from her shoulders. When she opened her eyes, she found herself back on the deserted platform, the last train of the night pulling away into the darkness. The station was empty, save for the echoes of the past that lingered in the air. And yet, Lily knew that the haunted subway car was now at peace, its restless spirits finally finding the solace they had long sought. As she made her way home, Lily knew that she would never forget the ghostly encounter that had changed her life forever. And though the memory of the haunted express would linger in her mind, she found solace in the knowledge that she had helped those lost souls find their way home. The subway car may have been haunted, but it was also a place of redemption, a conduit for spirits seeking peace in the darkness. And in that moment, Lily knew that she had played a part in their salvation.